My best friend to 23. She left her body and hovered above me. I saw no shadow, I looked around, searched every building and home that I found. I saw no shadow, but felt the glow. The warmth inside me, it kept me afloat. It felt like heaven that found my bones and gave me comfort when I feel alone. Now you're gone, I'm alone. I guess it's time to get better. Through the pain, I will go alone. If I fall, break my bones, I will scream even louder. 'Cause I'm not dying alone. I lost my best friend to 23. She left her body and hovered above me. My best friend to 23. I heard the heavens crying above me. They gained an angel, I lost a friend. I felt like dying again and again. I went through hell, stared at death, but I keep fighting with each living breath. I saw no way out from where I stood. Felt like the fire had burned me from. Now you're gone, I'm alone. I guess it's time to get better. Through the pain, I will go alone. If I fall, break my bones, I will scream even louder. 'Cause I'm not dying alone. I lost my best friend. Inside your self-righteous symphony, I would rather let this go than to bring it up again. But
What's going on, all you beautiful freaking nerds out there? It's us. We're back. We took a week off. We hope you all had a fantastic holiday. If you celebrated it, for our Canada friends, happy Thanksgiving a month and a half ago.
It was like 6 weeks ago.
Forever ago. But for our US friends, happy Thanksgiving. We hope you had a good time with your fams. We did, for sure. Paul made 17,000 metric tons possibly of sausage.
Not correct? Even 200. It was a light year this year.
It was a light year. 200 what, pounds?
Yeah, it was like 100 and I think 75, 180, something like that.
So a casual boat snack of one fishing trip for Paul is essentially what he made.
we usually in a normal year, we're in like the 250 to 300 plus range. So wow. Pretty light.
Pretty light. All right. Well, we got a fun show for you guys tonight. And I honestly, it's going to be more of the theme that you might end up seeing here on Burly Fishing. So, you know, we've been in the shop on the whiteboard trying to figure out what the heck we're going to do on this whole YouTube thing. You know, you can't murder things on YouTube anymore, unfortunately. So, you know, we're not going to do a ton of catch and cooks or anything, but we are thinking more technique stuff because we want to learn as much as you guys do. And it's funny, like, Paul and I talked about this on our 22 hours in a truck when we went back and forth from New York to go fish for gigantic smallmouth in St. Lawrence. And we were talking about like, what can we do that's like fun, educational, that like entertaining, educational, edutaining, right? We want to meet in that middle ground. What can we do that's different maybe than we've seen in other places, right? And what we came up with was, hey, what do we suck at? And we're going to start with a few of those things today we're going to talk about, but it'll go beyond this list. We'll call this list like our bottom 5. And we'll come up with a lot more because in all reality, we've always said this, you guys, we are aggressively average anglers. We go hard in the paint. We go after it. We don't always know what we're doing. In fact, most of the time we don't. And ultimately we figure it out. And that's kind of the fun of it for us. That's the whole reason the channel still exists. You know, it goes to this day and will continue probably forever, is because we really enjoy picking apart new bodies of water, going to challenging bodies of water, places where people say like, yo, the fish don't bite here, and then we can catch a fish and we're like, yo, yeah, they do. Or when other people are struggling and then we produce, I always feel good. That's like rewarding, right? That's like that platinum trophy on PS4. You know, we go after that stuff. And it's ultimately like the thrill for us when it comes to fishing. So what we decided we want to do is we want to pick not only new bodies of water, but also new techniques to go fish. Because you could always do the same old thing. We could throw on a green pumpkin worm, Texas rig it. And I mean, don't get me wrong. If that's how you enjoy fishing, if that's the easiest way for you to go fish, heck yeah, more power to you. For us, you can do that, but we don't want to do that. Like, we want to live outside of our comfort zone, live outside the box, because it's way more enjoyable, way more rewarding when you actually produce on that new technique. Like, I was throwing around an Alabama rig the other day, and I was like, this does not belong in Michigan in November. What am I doing? But, you know, when in Rome, whatever, tried new stuff, right? So we're going to talk about our bottom 5 techniques. And we'll talk a little bit about these plans for 2022 with them as well. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. And, you know, of course, as always, it's an interactive show, y'all. So participate along. Let us know what your bottom 5 techniques are in chat. Ask us questions. Let us know maybe your bottom 5s are like our top 5. Like, I get a lot of guys who always say like, oh, Ned rig, like I just can't catch anything on it. Even if I throw the old shark deuce, I'm not producing on it. I don't get it. And that's my number 1 technique. You know, and that's what's cool about the community is you guys can bounce ideas off of each other. We can learn from each other. And I think the way we want to approach these videos in 2022 is, obviously it's not going to be all the time. There's still going to be unboxings, still going to be the podcast, obviously. But with these videos, I think what we'll do is we'll say, here's a technique we want to figure out today. And an element of that video is going to be research. It's going to be like looking it up online, maybe calling our friends that we've met thanks to this show, right? Our amazing friends we've met that are awesome at these things. Alex Rudd with crankbaits. Maybe we hit up Fluke Master for fluke fishing. That's on my bottom 5. Hint, hint. You know, just different things like that. We'll hit them up. We'll see if we can get them on a call. We'll put it in the video and just mess around with these techniques and see if we can catch a dang fish on it. And what would be really cool, and I kind of took this from, I really love this episode we did with Mr. and Miss Wish I Was Fishing, where he was talking about like getting into jerkbait fishing this year. He was like, I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna catch 100 fish on a jerkbait. I love that idea. That's kind of what we want to carry into next year. You guys let us, obviously let us know what you think about this. Ultimately, we want to make videos that you guys like to watch because we don't want to make them if you don't want to watch them. That's the whole game here. But before I roll into the intro here, I just wanted to put that out there for the episode today. Now, Greg Whitaker, my dude, my guy, what's up with the super chat? Thank you so much, my friend, for the super chat for $5. I need advice with Carolina rig and drop shot. Love this idea. Awesome. So Carolina rig is also on a list. Drop shot is probably both of our top fives. So I can't say it's on there, but we'll definitely dabble in that today for sure. And also happy 9 months to Army Outdoors. What's up,
boy?
Dude, you're so awesome. I love you. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here tonight, hanging out with us. We appreciate you guys so much. As always, if you like the show, be sure to subscribe, smash the like, share this with a fishing friend, especially as we move into learning these new techniques. There's going to be a lot more education and not just all unboxings here on this channel. That's what we're trying to establish today. So if you know of anybody who wants to learn new techniques, learn about fishing, learn from great creators out there, because we're going to collaborate a lot in that way, probably more remotely, just due to family issues and career problems. And I say it like it's a bad thing. It's a great thing. Due to amazing families that are super supportive, and yet we cannot bear to be away from for more than several days. Okay. We'll collaborate as much as we can. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So share it around. If you guys are listening on audio, be sure to drop a 5-star review. That helps us out a lot. Please type something in there, leave a comment, leave something. Let us know that you said, hey. We appreciate you guys so much for doing that. And by the way, kind of round out my intro with this, the Burly box. I want to thank you guys for supporting us with this box. You did awesome. Did we beat Debo's fishing? No, but it's Debo's fishing. Like I don't really feel bad about that. I think it was cool that we got to collaborate with MONSTERBASS, finally make a box with our name on it and like feel good about it. And that a bunch of these other amazing creators that, Paul and I kind of came up watching before we even started the channel also made a box. And to go toe to toe with them and just get our freaking butts beat was actually kind of fun. It was great. It was enjoyable. It was super cool. So Debo sold out, Smallmouth Crush sold out. I think Rudd's got like 25 boxes left. We actually have about, I think 75 or 80 boxes left at this point, but you guys got us well over 100 boxes sold. You guys are awesome. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for that support. We do get a kickback from that. So that has helped us out a lot going into this holiday season. So, appreciate you guys so much. You guys are so awesome. And if you haven't gotten a box, guess what? There's 75 to 80 left. So if you want to pick one up, you can do that. Again, it's $60 worth of baits for $30. So you go on the site, make sure it says $29.99. If it doesn't, you can type in one of the Black Friday codes and get it. It should be back to that $29.99. They kind of messed with us over the weekend because they had a bunch of other sales. So there was issues. But if you guys want it, still $29.99. It's on the site. Chaz is going to drop the link in chat throughout the show. If you get any more, it's still supporting us. We appreciate you guys so much. They're there until they're sold out. So feel free to share the link around if you know anybody else that's looking for some gear. If you guys at this point, you know what's in that box. I've posted about it a bunch. We did it on YouTube. You get it. There's all sorts of cool stuff. I'm not going to rehash it here. You want it. Other people want it. Just get the dang box. But that's it. That's my diatribe today. Not too bad. It was only 17 minutes long. Come on.
All right.
Dominic McDonald, thank you so much for 3 months on the Snorlax crew. What's up,
Thank
dude?
you, brother.
Keep up the great content. Thank you. We will try. Thank you for thinking it's great.
I was about to say, and thank you.
Keep up the okay-ist content on YouTube.
Jeffrey hitting M43 tonight. Is that what that is?
What? No, this is just a koozie. It's Diet Coke.
So I was right.
Oh, the Burly hype man,
Oh,
aka
there he is.
Ain't Caught Crap President. All right, thank you for the super chat for $5, man. My bottom 5 technique is all of them except for the improved clinch knot, which you do really well. If there was a contest for catching tents and just random objects in the water, I think you would win. 75 today, 29 Tuesday. Wow, temps have our fish confused, thrown everything, almost my whole rod and reel. I'm with you, dude. Like, I am with you. It has
It's like when you're playing tennis.
rough.
It's like when you're playing tennis and you're like, you're not going to hit the shot, and so you just throw the racket. And you're like,
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get it.
Dude, it's been rough here. It has been rough here.
Yeah.
Like I've tried here and there, like ultralight to
It's funny.
Big
It's funny
swim baits, nothing.
I've mentioned a couple times that I'm getting ready to put the yak away, and people are like, "What? Do you even like to fish? You can fish for forever." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're a good old boat guy."
You can.
And I mean, yeah, like if you're going for salmon and stuff or walleye, like it's a great time to do it. But if you're a bass fisherman and you're not in a boat, I mean, you really are struggling because the biggest thing is the electronics. Electronics is pretty much everything right now.
Yeah, you gotta find them.
Without that, and without the ability to check a dozen spots or 24 spots on a lake, like you're just not gonna have fun. It's very challenging to fish.
And I mean, let's be real. It's tough to map a lake with a yak. Like you don't move
even when
that
you know
fast.
the lake though, then it's just like normal difficult fishing. It's just not. It becomes very challenging. This is actually, I want to do a whole episode on this, but this time of year in Michigan actually is kind of sad because deer season's over, and deer season is like the tail end of what is like the best fishing for the year, right? The end of fall. And then turkey season's long done. Ducks, there's like maybe 6 or 8 days left to do geese, but like otherwise it's really slowing down. And there's really nothing else there's not much else to do. So this is when I used to do a lot of like salmon fishing, or like squirrel hunting. Like those are like my 2 options. And a lot of that goes away. Like when you have kids, salmon fishing is like not something you just go do in your backyard. So this actually is a super tough time of year, and then you're basically stuck waiting for like a month and a half, like 8 weeks for ice. That's a long time for me to just be like, I'm just not going to fish that much. I find it very difficult.
Yeah, it is one of the most frustrating times of year for me. I don't hunt, so there is no other thing. So when fishing turns off, I'm like, cool, peace out. See you in late January.
And then, we will hit the bank. Yeah, we'll hit the bank. We'll do stuff, but it's just not the same, right? It's just not the same. So anyway.
It does not produce the same. And also, Rockablaze, I saw your post on Discord, RIP to that Thunder Cricket, but to Greg Whitaker's point, there is a Thunder Cricket in this month's Monster Bass box.
I was going to say, there's one in the box, and you could just go ahead and buy a Burly box again.
You can just get another one. I'm just saying.
You could just get another one.
You could buy it for somebody else and be like, yeah, there's like 7 baits in it, sick deal, and just pull that Thunder Cricket out. It's yours.
There's also the Thunder Cricket, the Thunder Cricket Kamikaze Swim On in Smoky Gold combo was actually in like 4 different boxes. So you got some options there.
Great minds think alike, I will say.
No, it was funny. It was crazy how many boxes that showed up. And I mean, not that I'm super surprised, but because it was just a great value, but it was hard not to put in the box for me. And that was actually, I think that was the first thing that we both agreed on, like right off the bat, was that combo.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, so Q of the D, question of the day. Jeff, what item do you most often use to round out to get to the free shipping when you're on like a tackle warehouse or discount tackle or monsterbass.com?
Terminal.
Which what terminal?
Weights. Like
that is literally exactly what I go for. It's never hooks ever.
Nope.
I've never done hooks once. I do weights constantly.
You can never have enough. It's like, dude,
I never do plastics. I never have done plastics.
No. I mean, you guys know, like with the position that we're in, where we're like testing these things, we have so many subscription boxes. Like, we got plastics for years. I do not
even if
need
I'm
to
doing
buy
like
plastics.
even if I'm doing a plastics order, I will not add like
the extra
one more.
will be the weights.
I won't. The extra will be terminal, and it will be a weight. It will be like a shaky head I want to try out. Like I just did. Actually, I just did one. This is actually a good time to mention this. So I was actually hooking up the limited edition mule jig in purple. Exclusively available from Discount Tackle. So I was hooking those up, and I was like, I don't want to just like waste $7 or $5 or whatever, and my camera's not even looking at me anymore. It's looking like 6 feet in front of me for no reason. There's no fixing this. I hate this. I have to get a new camera.
You're done.
Does the squid work? It worked that one time, but it's dead now. The squid doesn't work anymore. I'm sorry, you guys. I really do. I don't know what it is about this camera in this room. I know.
Yeah, we all have the same camera, Paul.
And mine just hates me. And that's what I'm saying. Like this, it's the worst.
Yours is garbage.
So maybe you'll be able to see these, but these like ultra slim weights, and I got like 2 of them because I was like, dude, I want to try those. They're totally different than anything else I have. So I'm giving them a shot. But yeah, it's always weights. It's not even a question.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a good call. It kind of fits that like, oh, you're $5 away. You know, it's like, oh,
yeah. Whenever you're like,
I'm there, and that's highly valuable to me. I don't have an extreme excess of weights because like none of the subscription boxes really put them in there, and you know, those are things you're gonna lose. The boring box. But it's like if you break off a Texas rig, lost weight. If you break off a flipping rig, lost weight. If you break off a Carolina rig, lost maybe more than 1 weight, like in swivels and stuff like that.
And there's always like a different version to try. Like there's I got some worm weights too. I've never been a big like worm weight guy. Never really done anything with it. No,
it's like most of my weights.
Worms, like the specific worm weight. Yeah, mine. No, I just use flipping weights.
No, like no bottom taper.
None. Yeah, they look like an actual bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, not at all. I don't think I have literally 0. Well, now I have a dozen. Yeah, I have a dozen.
Nice.
It's just something that I don't need, and so I've never been like, I'll just go get those. I just use flipping weights. It's so weird, but yeah, I love it. That's funny. Good answer.
We just had one of the very few, the very rare, unanimous decisions happen on Q of the D.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's
we can end the show now.
So yeah, like not just this episode, the entire show over.
Just goes dark.
there is I don't know if we talked about this on the show at all. When you fish together a lot, like you tend to start doing things like this a lot where you're like, oh, you grab weights, I grab weights. Yeah, like because we also buy tackle together all the time. Yes. We're like, oh, you making that order? Like throw these on there. And then I'll be like, yeah, you throw those on there. Like you bought me those mule jigs, or I was doing the Fish USA order and I was like, you want like 2 Fluger President inline ice fishing reels? Sure. Duh. Let's do that. You know? So you do stuff like that. But then when we fish together, the funny thing is we do this every single trip. There is always, because we fish kind of close to each other in the kayaks, so we can like keep the content rolling, we'll both bomb a cast at the exact same time and it will land in almost the exact same spot every single trip, minimum 1 time, sometimes more than once, and then we double up a lot too, kind of because of that. But yeah,
I think what's crazy about this that people won't understand is that we now notice that it happens the second it happens. Like someone just says, y'all monthly cycles are sinking. Come on, Burly. It is funny though. It's amazing because I
am deceased.
It's amazing how we both know it's gonna happen. Like I'll cast and I'll look over at Jeff before baits hit the water. We'll both look at the water mid cast, and then to get the ploop, ploop within like 2 feet of each other, and we'll just look at each other and start laughing. It'll happen once every trip. It's kind of
freaking
silly.
Again.
It's funny. All right.
I mean, it gets to that point. You know, you fish the similar techniques. You look at the same spots. Like you're gonna do that.
Well, even when I'm running an order, like if I'm getting something, I know Jess can be pissed if he doesn't get it back. Like I'll have to get one. That's it's just the rule.
Oh, that's really neat that you got those. It'd be super great if I had one.
Yeah, exactly.
When is our anniversary, Chaz? It is, I don't know.
Ours?
Ours. When is our anniversary?
Oh God, 100 years. Okay, now we're getting personal.
Wow, we're getting real weird on this episode. You guys want to get weird? Let's get weird.
Well, Camp Waffle Stopper.
What's up? Thank you for the super chat for $10. Now we're saying the same thing at the same time. This is terrible. We should cut this off. Do you bother with swivels to avoid line twist, or is that not a significant problem for you guys? So this is funny because this came up when I posted the video for the 6 Cents unboxing. Because on the 6 Cents unboxing, I was like, look at all these swivels we bought, and I like to go to swivels, and that's because I'm a noob at Carolina fishing. And then all the Carolina pros came out like I wanted them to, and they said because the 6 Cents Carolina pack comes with peg stoppers instead of swivels.
Yep.
I think it came with 1 pack of swivels, peg stoppers, the hook, 1/2 ounce weights, and a bunch of plastics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, peg stoppers, you guys use this? And they're like, yes, it's peg stopper, weights, beads, clacker, swivel. And I was like, the way we were doing it in New York was on the St. Lawrence was the 2 swivels. And the only reason I did it that way is because the guy did it, then I did it. And I tied mine the same way as he did.
There's a method to the madness, though.
Mm-hmm.
There's a method to the madness. So it depends on what. So here's the thing. Well, and this is just, I'm not an expert in Carolina rigging, but I have messed around with it. It's definitely, I consider it to be in the quiver, right? Yeah. So there's a couple of things that can do. So one, if you're breaking off rigs a whole bunch, if you don't want to break off your whole rig, there's a potential that you might not lose your entire rig. If you snap off, you might snap off above the top swivel, in which case all you've lost is a hook and a bait. Very common, right? So that's one thing. 2, if you're using, like our guide was, really heavy weights, that's going to move the peg on a big cast.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. When everybody was saying pegs, I was like, I need like 3 pegs.
Yeah, it works great. There's no reason not to use it. That's the right way to do it. The other thing, but there's a lot of different ways to do it. The other reason to use 2 swivels is, let's say you're in a place where you want to make a ton of noise, but you don't have a clacker. If you have 3 or 4 beads and you put those swivels right next to each other, you can do a lot of damage because those are all going to stay close to each other, and not move that peg by really moving that rod tip a whole bunch. So there's and those are just the ones that I know of. You can also pre-rig a whole bunch of them ahead of time. Tie them, take them on, put them off, take them on, constantly, and just have them already ready to go. So there's a lot. To me, I think there's actually a lot of reasons to use a swivel, but there's also a lot of reasons to use a peg. You can make adjustments very quickly. You can do a whole bunch of other things that you can't do, when the swivels are on. So I don't think one way is right or wrong, but if you Google how to do a Carolina rig, it's absolutely a peg.
Yeah. 100%. And a few guys even in chat here were saying just double peg. Yeah, and for sure you could definitely do that. I'm probably going to keep doing swivels.
You can also do it however you
I have a billion swivels. So
there's no. I actually went even more. I have a lot. I probably have
more than a billion.
I don't know. It might be an issue. Someone said, see the clackers and beads. I don't understand where to even start. Gregory Whitaker, there's no wrong way to do it.
There isn't.
I literally just start messing around. I mean, seriously.
I made one up the other day and caught a pike on it. Made it. I was like, bead, weight, bead, clacker, bead. Sure.
Well, it's one of those things where because there's a lot of variability, I think there's a lot of different ways to do it. And I remember when I first heard about it, it came out of In Fisherman magazine, an article, and I remember reading about it, and I had never heard of a Carolina rig. This was years and years ago. Never heard of a Carolina rig, and this guy was a tournament pro, won, a classic ledge fishing with it. No one else would ever dream of doing that. And he was like, "Oh, I run these in deep water constantly," and it was like, I didn't even know why that wouldn't make sense. So I just started messing around with it, and then lo and behold, it became like something that I just thought I always thought of that as a Texas rig. Like that in my mind was a Texas rig when I first started fishing, because that's just what I ran into and had success with. So I think it's an older style. There's a lot of guys who do it their own way. I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to do it, but there is like the invented way, like the original way is with a peg. So, and double peg. There's a million good ways to do it.
I say, like anything else, everybody can put their own unique spin on anything that they're doing. So, don't just, trash whatever they're doing.
No, and there's
that's wrong. Maybe you're wrong.
Try the other.
Maybe we're both right.
Try the other way. I don't think anybody's wrong. It's just a different way to do it. So that's like 100%. People who are like, you have to peg your Texas rig. Or you don't have to peg your. There's there's a reason why you would or wouldn't as well. Like, because they're just
times
different.
to do it, times to not. Yeah,
Exactly, and
are
that's
you
why
going
I
through
also
grass or
think
not going through grass?
that's why I think swivel, no swivel, uh,
Mm-hmm.
2 pegs, whatever, extra long leader. There's just a reason to, and sometimes to not do it that way. So yeah, I think it's all about doing it the way that works for you, and then experimenting and trying different ways, right?
There's
Which
going to
is
be a
that was the
preference.
whole point of what we're doing.
Exactly. There's going to be a preference to it. There's going to be experience applied to it. There's going to be like, well, I did it this time and it broke off, so I hate that way, right? So you're going to like change it up on the fly. It's going to happen, but yeah, that is on my bottom 5 because I would love to get better at it for sure.
So let's go. Should we start? Can we start our bottom 5?
Do we want to just list them out and then talk about them?
No, I want to go one at a time. Starting. So pretend like instead of like a top 10, think about this as like the bottom 5, and we'll start with out of the bottom 5 things that we think, right? We'll start with the one that we're the best out of the 5, and we'll work our way down to like what we're absolutely worst at.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 5th from the bottom is where we'll start. How about that?
You got it. Or you want to start at? Oh, you want to start number 1 of 5.
So like not your absolute worst.
The least at.
Your fifth. Yes, exactly. Your 5th.
I got you.
Your 5th worst.
So my 5th worst is weightless anything. And Paul is not surprised by this at all. Like not even in the slightest.
I am.
Really? So
to be the bottom 5, probably.
Finesse and weightless to me are not the same thing at all.
I would agree.
So like, because if you guys know, like you watch me fish Ned rigs, I fish them subtly aggressive. Like I go heavier than most people do. I move them a lot. And because of that, I'll produce more in like late spring, early fall, and all of summer. I can catch Ned rig most of the year. But when it comes to early spring, late fall, that's where I struggle because I have to go lighter. But since adopting ultralight this year, I actually got way better at that. So I'm actually good at extremely light weights, but as soon as you go weightless, I struggle. So like I've caught fish on a weightless Texas. Mm-hmm. I've caught fish on a weightless wacky. I'd have 0 confidence in it. None whatsoever. Not at all.
Weightless wacky is one of the reasons why that's not at the bottom. And then the other reason actually is the Zoom fluke. So I used to run the
That's
fluke.
on my list too.
I used to run the fluke naked constantly. And still not, I would not put it in like the top, but I definitely wouldn't put it in the bottom. Yeah. And by the way, there's going to be, just wait till you hear my next one. People are going to get so upset when they see my next one. They're like, oh my God, have you ever fished? Can't wait.
I'm enthralled. I cannot wait to hear. So yeah, weightless for me. Again, I've caught fish on weightless techniques. I just have 0 confidence in it, and it's not something I'll ever just reach for and be like, you know what I need? Weightless Texas. But it is something that I know works. Yes. Absolutely, 1000%. I know it works. Actually, all 5 of my bottom techniques, I know for a fact, are amazing techniques.
100%.
So it's not. None of this is like, well, this technique is trash. This is not bottom 5 techniques that exist. This is bottom 5 techniques for us personally that we suck at and we want to get better at. Like I said at the beginning of the show, these are going to come up next year.
Everyone has a bottom 5. Every single person in the entire universe in the history of planet Earth has a bottom 5.
I feel like everyone we've talked to from the South on the show, Ned rig.
Yeah,
it always comes up. any spinning rig technique, they're just like,
and so
I'm good.
And so yeah, like let's not get weird with it. I will say though, if you wanted to get good at it, weightless wacky flipping docks would be the easiest way to do it, because it requires the least amount of patience. It's a way that you fish already, and it's also the technique that you're already that you're ready for.
So the only reason I have weightless wacky hooks is because of the 6 cents hook package. Otherwise, all of my wacky hooks are 1/4 ounces. Weedless. Yep.
Whoa.
Weedless 1/4 ounce wacky rigs. That's all I got.
Oh my
God.
That's
all I throw. Because subtly aggressive, dude. It's the same. It's like,
you're right.
You know, would I reach for a 1.6 Ned or a 1.10? You know me.
Oh, yeah.
1.6 all day.
Yeah.
Would I reach for a 1/4 ounce wacky or a weightless? A 1/4 ounce wacky.
But see, that's weird because it depends on the situation though. Because I am.
Sure.
Yeah, it really depends on the situation. And it also depends on what kind of rig you have, because I'm probably not going weightless wacky with a bait caster either. Like I have finesse on the mind. I am thinking that these fish it's either super like the height of summer, or it's early spring or late fall,
Hmm.
and I'm thinking I'd probably even go trick worm, right?
Yep.
And I would definitely, yeah, go weightless. That's a good one. I actually like that. So all right, so my number 5. Uh, fifth worst, heavy flipping.
Heavy flipping.
Yes, like 3/4, 1 ounce,
That's
right?
like a mid-range technique for me, actually. I kind of
Yeah,
like it.
that's I have okay. I've only caught, and I'm talking about heavy cover. I mean, I like to flip, but like I like to flip
Mhm.
1/4 ounce with spark, like
Mhm.
medium cover. I'm talking like the thickest pad that you've ever rolled up to, and
Half,
we'll call
three-quarter,
it
one
punching.
ounce.
Sure, yeah, 1 ounce
See
and
that I
blasting.
don't have.
That's what I should rephrase. Like
If it's punching,
punching.
I'm with you.
That's what I'm talking about. So
Mhm.
punching, I have like no confidence in
Me neither.
whatsoever. None. I flip out there and I'm like, ugh, I'm not gonna catch. Like I before it's on its way down, I'm like worthless. Like I have no confidence that it's
I'll
gonna
see
do.
myself out.
Yeah,
That's not
exactly. And then
about.
I do, and then I pull it up, and I go too
Yeah.
fast, and it's
Yeah.
because in my mind I'm like I just want to frog fish because I know it works, But like, yeah, I never do it, and I love when I've caught fish on it. I love setting the hook. It's like the most gratifying thing in the world. But yeah, I'll punch, and I'm like nothing, never gonna see a fish. Whereas you'll see, I mean, you'll see like, and everyone in here is like love flipping, love flipping, love flipping. Like I
Yeah,
wish
we're
I
talking
was,
about
I wish
punching
I was
now. It
but
changed.
yeah, we'll call it. We'll call it. They get the idea. I think they're right
Yeah.
on. I'm talking like we'll call it punching, sure. But
Flipping is when you said flipping, I was like, that's actually a ton of fun.
oh
Like I
yeah,
have a
no,
rod specifically set up for that. I
yeah, I
love
flip
flipping in
constantly. But
heavy cover.
this is different. I'm talking about like
Yeah.
heavy cover, punching something
Punch.
through, and then
Pad
just jigging
section.
it for like a minute, and
Yeah.
then being like, oh, no fish again, and then
Yep.
leaving. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I'm with that. That could have been close to my bottom 5. Punching, no concept of it. I can pick out in my brain several times that you and I have been on a lake and we've tried it, and neither of us produced anything. And we were like, huh. And then we just went back to what we normally do.
It's fun. The crazy thing is too is I have so many like juicy beaver style baits, like punching solid punch baits that like
Mhm.
will never get even cracked open because I'll be like, meep, meep.
So I want to call this out because this actually plays to the whole point of this conversation right now and all the future videos that we're going to do. So Hayden here says, I used to suck at frog fishing. I finally got the hook set technique after losing a lot of fish. That's the point, because
Yes.
we both sucked at frog fishing. I remember
Yeah.
multiple days
Oh,
where
yeah.
either of us would be struggling on the frog, and finally, I remember for myself, you can throw out like the story that worked for you, but I remember hitting a lake back where I used to live, and it was like a really nice frogging lake, and that on that lake I caught my first frogfish. Actually, like did it right, and I was like, what? And it was game changing. It was mind blowing. I was so stoked about it. I like top 5 fishing moments of my life, and I've had probably 4 PBs that were in there. So frog is like right up there. It was amazing, and then I figured it out, and that's what I want to happen with all of
Yes.
these other techniques. And I want you guys to have that happen too, because again, Texas rig green pumpkin worm is great and all, but wouldn't it be
Oh,
cool if you had like
try something
50
different.
arrows in the quiver instead of
Yeah.
just one? Because
Yeah.
Texas rigging, even a green pumpkin, isn't going to work in exactly every single scenario. I gotta
It's just
challenge
fun
you on
to
that.
it's fun to get better. And Jeff and I both had I think similar experiences this year. So like Jeff
Mhm.
is we talk about Carolina rig ton. We're gonna talk about it later.
Yeah.
And it's something that Jeff had like a good day on, right? Caught a bunch of fish.
Mhm.
And now it's like something like he's constantly thinking about. He's like,
Thinking about it.
it could
I like
work.
it.
It could
Yeah.
work. And I had the same thing.
what could work here? Carolina
Yeah.
rig. Things I never thought before this day. Carolina rig.
Yeah. And I was fishing an area that had like the dirtiest water in the world, and I always like knew how to use a shaky head, and like I would consider myself decent at it, but I had a day
Mhm.
where it just went off for me, and now
Yeah.
I am confident. Like, and I started breaking out all the time because I had one day where I was very successful, and I was like,
Mhm.
I know I can do it in this situation, and now it's something that I constantly look for. So yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think that this is just something that I would want for everybody, especially when it's something
Yeah.
like flipping. I'm not even the punching, like flipping. Like if you aren't into
If you don't
flipping,
do
like,
that,
you should get into that, right? Like
it's
if
so sick. It's
finesse
so cool.
jig fishing. Like you should get into that. Like there's everything. There's a reason to do everything. There's time for everything. So, anyways, leather stocking angler.
Yes. Thank you for super chat from Leather Stocking Angler. I only fish weedless wacky. The majority of my lakes are clear and full of milfoil and also weightless Texas rig on all baits. I totally get that. And I fished lakes like that. So I'm with that. And those are probably the lakes where that's worked for me. There was like that camping lake, you remember, Paul, where we were just, I mean, it's stocked with like 3.5 pounders. That's where I've caught the most weightless fish. That lake right there, because I feel like you could just throw anything, and like that's kind of also like a sweet lake to learn a confidence lure.
Oh man,
right?
Yeah,
like, this lake is stocked. They eat everything. You're like, let me figure this technique out. So if you guys got any like nice ponds, stock ponds, whatever, like don't feel bad about it. Just go learn how to fish a technique.
This lake catches everything. I screwed a in the back of a full size like Z-Man TRD. I screwed into the back one of those like flash blades, like a
the blades blade. That they have, the TRD blades. Yeah.
No, it was just a regular one, and fished it as top water and caught a fish. I'm not even kidding.
This is the lake. This is the lake that I caught a fish on the 13 fishing motorboat, y'all. Oh, and if you guys haven't used the motorboat, there's one of the most ridiculous baits that exists.
It really is.
It's a Elastec super floaty plastic that is rigged on a special EWG with a blade coming off the back, like. Or no, it's like a buzz bait, right? It's not, whatever. It's super weird. Anyways, Army Outdoors, thank you so much for the super chat for $10, my friend. You're fantastic. Paul literally told me to punch flip on a lake when I was in Michigan into reeds, and I caught 3 fish back to back. So Paul knows it works. And again, we're just saying we suck at that.
Yeah.
So if I know that technique's going to work, even if I suck at it, I'm going to recommend it to you. You might be better at it than me.
So I would try it.
I would try it too. It doesn't mean I would catch fish on it. We just know that when we say suck at it, it doesn't even mean we haven't caught fish on it. We've caught fish on these techniques.
It's in my
all of the techniques in my bottom 5, I've caught fish on. However, maybe except for one. However,
I'm doing mine. Yeah.
You're looking to see if you caught fish on it.
All but one, maybe.
Caught, didn't catch, caught. So I've caught fish on 4 of the 5, and still I have no confidence in them because I don't know why I caught that fish. I don't know what I was doing. Right? Weightless.
It just happened.
What did I do? Like I just put it out there and I waited. Is that it? Like I don't know. Oh, you're throwing. Yeah, there you go. So it's it has a buzzbait tail, right? Like a buzzbait blade on the tail. I was trying to remember that. I'm pretty sure it's that. So yeah, it's a hyper weird bait. And I've never had any opportunity to catch anything on it. And I caught multiple fish on this lake on the thing. Yeah. It's where it's actually, Deepa's gonna hate this. The most lunker hunt spider bites I've ever had are on that lake.
I don't know. Maybe because it's accumulative.
Yeah,
we did hit a lake
there 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, we hit a lake. Days. We did hit a lake and we blew up. Anyways, I'm not gonna mess with it. All right. Do you want to go to your next one? Your number 4, your 4th worst.
I'm just looking at this random
I know.
comment.
I'm not even. Just continue.
We're not gonna do that comment, anyways. No. My 4th worst. Wow, cadence thrown off is Carolina rig, and the reason is, again, this is the things we suck least at. We think of these 5. The bottom of these 5 is going to be the thing that we think we suck the most at, and you guys are going to hate me for mine, but whatever. So mine is the Carolina rig for number 205, and for the reason that we brought up in the beginning of the show. There's a lot of complexity that goes into it. It's not just as simple as like even a Texas rig is exceedingly simple as in comparison to a Carolina rig. There's so many different ways you can fish it. Everybody thinks this way is right, that way is wrong, and vice versa, whatever. So there's a million ways to fish it, and that's just actually there's a million ways to rig it, and then there's a bunch of ways to fish it. So to me, it's just the complexity of it, the nuances of it. It's I want to figure it out more than anything, especially because it's such a classic technique. Super old school, been used forever, has won bajillions of tournaments, is obviously a big fish catching, producing thing. But I always walked past the Zoom lizards and was like, what the frick are these things? I don't want those. Those are dumb. And then you get like the 6 cents hog walla and you get like all these crazy, like the Guggen trench hog or whatever.
Oh,
and I'm
God,
like,
that thing
why
is
would I
weird.
use these things? I don't want these things. These are ridiculous. Missile Baits has the, what is it? Greg sent us it. It's like the, it's like the long, or the destroyer. I think it's the destroyer. Yeah. So like all those different types of baits, I was like, these are dumb. Why would I use these things? I don't throw baits that big. My fish aren't eating that. And that is another thing I'm trying to like break from my mentality for 2022 is like fish will eat those big baits. Get over it, throw the damn thing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Carolina rig to me obviously was proven to me on the St. Lawrence where I was struggling and I was able to switch to the Carolina and I caught giant smallies. And I was like, oh, gosh dang it. This thing works. And it was super fun to fish, actually.
On a flipping bait.
Yeah. Like,
an undisclosed flipping bait.
I was like, we're not going to say it on our channel. It was definitely announced on Smallmouth Crushers channel. But anyways, I was looking at them actually in a shop yesterday. I was like, I should buy like a bunch of these. but yeah. So yeah, it was proven to me that day, not just by me. I caught on them. The guide caught a bunch of fish, lost a bunch of fish on them too, and then Paul caught a bunch of fish on it. So we all fished the Carolina rig and it worked the whole weekend.
We all fished it differently.
And we all did it different. Yep.
Yeah, I did not fish it like our guy did at all. So it's fun though.
We talked about how the guy did it, and you and I fish it different too. So you did like a lift, and I was actually kind of dragging it on that trip through the current. So I would like sweep the rod to the side and then move to pull up slack, and do that pretty much continuously. And I was catching
it and almost identical to a Texas rig.
Yeah,
like almost exactly how you would traditionally fish a Texas rig.
And then on my home lake, I caught a pike on that, and I was alternating techniques. I was like, "Does this work or does this work?" And I was throwing it.
And
over,
it depends
like,
on your leader.
And drop-offs.
A lot of that depends on your leader and the bait that you're using. Because if you have a floating bait versus a neutral bait, like there's so much, man. There's
if you're like
a variance,
and that's what I'm talking about. This is one of the most complex rigs I feel you could throw next to like a donkey rig or something like that, some sort of
there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it.
Yeah,
there's a lot to it.
There's so much. And the Alabama rig, which I learned a bunch about. So, that's not on my bottom 5 because it's not even on my radar, but it is something we'll dink around with next year. I promise you guys. There will most likely be a couple videos where we just go like, let's try this. That doesn't belong here. But for example, Extreme Outdoorsman hit me up when I was like, I fished this Alabama rig, and I showed my little fish chandelier, and he was like, yo, don't use all the same plastics. And I was like, well, I didn't freaking know that. Like, I had no idea because I just grabbed this thing off of Amazon and was like, why not? What the heck? Let's try it. And that's an example of how complex a bait is once you dig into it. On the surface, it's like big umbrella type rig with a bunch of wires coming off, maybe blades, maybe not. And then you have a jig tied onto each one of those like clips. And then you just throw on a swim plastic or a grub. Okay, cool. But then it goes alternate sizes, alternate colors, and then like maybe some people say like the middle one if you have the 5 hooks, because in Michigan we have a 5 hook rule.
That's the one you want to be 5 hooks. Right.
That's the one that you want them to target, so you make it brighter and different and maybe bigger. Or maybe smaller. Like, so it can get really complex when you actually dig into it. But on the surface, you're like, Alabama rig, get the kit. And like the Amazon kit came with 5 dark paddle tails, 5 light paddle tails, 5 chartreuse grubs, and 5 something else darker. And it's like, throw all the same plastics on when I could have alternated them. So it's interesting. Like, and that's part of why I want to get into this, because it kind of gets me excited. Like, I'm interested in this. This is something that'll bring the energy to some of our videos, and hopefully we learn, you learn, we all learn. Like, it's a win-win-win across the board.
All right, just my number 4
skiing on all of them and just like running through the river. Oh, that's illegal. All right, moving on.
So my number 4 is just like extra large swim baits, and I feel like this is on a lot of people's list.
Do you have a boot, Chaz? Chaz
Yeah,
has a
Chaz
boot,
is-
you guys.
yeah.
And before you get
Yeah.
into this, probably very boring, dry story. Real quick, if we could welcome Real Fun Outdoors to the Snorlax crew.
Welcome, brother. Welcome.
What's
my friend.
up? That's awesome. Appreciate you. All right, go up.
Love that.
Persuade.
Love to have you, man. Yeah, big swim baits, and it's like
good call.
I mean, like I could throw a swim bait, and I'm not talking about plastics with like a jig head. I'm talking about like a big hard body bait, triple jointed or whatever.
7 inches, 2 ounces. Yeah.
Yep. I actually have confidence that they will catch fish. I've seen it done.
100%.
I've had a couple hits and whatnot, but I couldn't, just like Jeff's talking about the A-rig. I'm not going to be the guy that's going to tell you, oh, you have to do this in order to make it successful in this situation, or here's the day to throw it, or here's not the day to throw it. Like, I'm just not going to have it. It's not going to work.
Yeah, no, 100%. And when I dinked around on some unreleased videos, there was one I made. It was like fishing a swim bait, and it was actually swim baits and glide baits.
I know exactly what video you're talking about.
Yep. So after that, I was like, I suck. What do I do to get better? And like a past person on the show was aquatic biologist, and he said like basically the reel pause. So like when you reel, glide baits do this thing, right? So you let it go and then you pause and it sits. And if you have like a floating glide bait, it just sits there. If you have a sinking one, it slow sinks, right? And that's generally when you get struck. So it's knowing things like that makes such a big difference, which is why when we do these, let's call it a series, right? Like that's how I kind of want it to be. When we do this series, when we roll into this in the new year, well, after ice fishing season, obviously. So let's say like April, right? So we roll into this into spring when fish start actually biting, because I'm not going to like, put my money behind swim baits in March. Never going to happen for me. It's too hard a target to hit. But when we get into this, I really want to like incorporate like, okay, aquatic biologist says that. So we call him, we put him in the video and we say, all right, bro, like, what are we doing wrong? What do we need to do? Maybe we get links to videos, like whatever, and we'll give credit where credit's due to those people or to those videos. But I think that's cool because it's kind of like part of the learning technique I would have done anyways, and that you guys are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just incorporate it. Like, we know we're not experts. I'm not going to jump on here and be like,
I'm not going to tell anybody like, well, here's how you fish a big swim bait, because I don't know. Yeah, and I don't.
Shout out.
Yes.
Fish Daddy 401. Thank you so much for the super chat for $1.99. I love making and fishing big swims, and Fish Daddy is going to send us some baits.
Yeah.
And after I was like, you got any ice fishing plastic? I'll take like that finesse box that he showed me in like his shop. He goes, you're going to want to get a Beast 12-aught hook. And I was like, I ordered the finesse box, bro. I was like, all right, I'll do that. I'll get some 12-aught.
I love it.
Dude, homeboy makes some giant swim baits. If you guys haven't checked out Fish Daddy's baits, he hangs out on Debo's lives a lot. He was on when we were last. Was it on Debo's or was it on
Smallmouth? I think
it was on Smallmouth. No, it was on Debo's. It was for sure on Debo's. Yeah, because we talked to him after.
Oh no, I remember. You're right.
Yeah, so we talked to him after. He's going to send us some baits. We'll do an unboxing on those. They look great, and his swim baits. He makes some magnums. I was like, oh no. Things I would like to learn. I'm glad you said that. This is cool because I kind of realized as you made the show notes that I typed mine in and you didn't type yours in.
I know.
So
I wanted to hide mine. I'm trying not to look at yours. I've scrolled down, so yours are all hidden.
You're not looking at mine?
I have no idea what yours are.
We're organically just saying different things.
I have no idea what you're doing. So
if we end up with 10 instead of like, a couple of the same, we end up with like 10. That's going to be the series. It's going to be like figuring out.
That was the idea.
I love it.
Chaz, we're trying to
don't people know.
Well, we had a little snafu this week, so we had to make a snap decision. So that's why the show is what it is. This poor guy got obliterated. He's not feeling well.
Past tense, homeboy got sick. But McGrath Fishing is going to be on a future episode. McGrath Fishing was supposed to be today. He got sick. We hope he gets better, and we hope he feels good after this.
Mostly because he's got a huge trip this week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he better freaking go on it, dude. Man up. Man up.
Oh god, here we go. Go on your trip sick, be a man. Um, the
Go on
thing,
your
you know,
trip
the last thing I want to say about swim baits, though, a lot of people right now, it's like a
It's a
bug that
vibe.
they've caught, right? And they're like, I want to catch I only want to catch fish on big swim baits. Like I only want to fish big
Mhm.
swim. I do not have that. I don't care about catching fish on big bait. I do not
Yeah.
walk around like I'm not gonna go spend
It'd be
my
cool.
time. I guess, yeah.
It
I
would probably
I
feel like my first frog catch.
It'd be way lower than that. For
I
me.
think it would be my first frog
I
catch.
don't have that like strong desire to catch fish on a
Sure.
big bait. I think it's cool. I love that other people are doing it. I love that everybody's doing it. I think it's great. I just don't have the bug. So like maybe I'll catch one, maybe I'll have it forever. But like I don't have like right now a strong desire to be like must spend a whole year like doing like
Yeah.
I don't have it.
I,
I'm
I,
gonna
I
do it.
will.
I want to try, but I'm not gonna like. Oh, that's not true. I don't. No absolutes. Right now, I'm just like I don't have that. Like I don't have the itch that much.
You're going to get it. But I also feel like the swim bait side of fishing is kind of like sports cars. It's like everybody's showing
A
off
little
their
bit,
super
yeah.
expensive swim baits, and they're like, "Check this thing out!" And then those few people like John B got like the $1,200 42-inch glide or
But
42
it's a
ounce
fad, and they're all just driving the fad.
glide
Not they're
bait.
all. A lot of people are just driving the fad. There are people who've been doing this a lot longer than it's hit
Yeah,
the scene, and people are just excited about it and something to spend money on. Which go ham, guys. I'm not here to yuck your yum, but I don't have like a strong desire to
yeah.
go catch
No,
a.
I'll
It's
I'll
you kind
say
of gotta
there's.
put like all your chips into it, like it, and like I
Oh,
know
you
that
really
people
do, yeah.
and people are like, oh well, you're gonna catch these like big fish or whatever, and I'm like,
You catch
I
little fish.
I'll be well, yeah, but I'll be honest, like I actually haven't really seen like a ton of people catching like most people that catch big fish on swim baits are in like California.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on where you're at. Like, you guys
Yeah,
can probably just
that's
go
where I
ahead and
see.
expect that we don't smash them in Michigan on
Oh,
at swim baits.
I
We're gonna
people
catch
do
some
it.
fish.
We've seen people do it, but it's not. I don't know. I like I don't have confidence that you know what it is. I don't have confidence that that technique is any better at catching big fish than any other technique. Like I don't actually believe that. If
No,
someone came to me and made me say like, what do you think is gonna catch like the biggest
Chaz
fish?
is a
And
swim bait guy, and he's saying it's not.
yeah, and like someone says like you're gonna catch the biggest fish with this, and you only catch one, but it's gonna be the biggest one. I would not say giant swim baits. I mean they're cool. They catch big fish. I'm not saying they don't. Like I don't think that like I would feel more confident saying
Mhm.
Texas rig than I would saying, you know, big swim
Yeah,
bait.
I mean, look. At the end of the day, the point of all this is like, what if we could add 10 more techniques to the quiver?
Oh
Where
yeah.
it's like,
I
if
would
we
love
need
to
to
be able
throw
to
this, we can
tell
throw
people how
that.
to do it. I'd love to have that knowledge and
Yeah,
feel confident. Yeah, agreed.
teach, show, explain, etc. Like
Yeah.
it would be fantastic. And
But that's
yeah,
it's on the bottom for me.
for
Not good at
sure.
it.
No, but I'm with you on it. It's not on my bottom five, but it should be. I'm with you. Like I recently, just this year, I bought my first glide and swim baits, like first time. And now I just picked up the Trace that's coming on the 6 cents order.
Oh yeah,
But
which one?
the 4K gill or whatever the closest to the 4K gill is.
The one that's not quite as dark as the one that I have, but pretty
Yeah.
dark.
Yeah. It's a little bit lighter, I think.
Fishing with Grams just made a great point. He said if it
Mhm.
was that bait, he said every Bass Pro, BASS Pro would throw nothing but. It's a great point.
Exactly. So, will it catch big fish? Yes. Will it
Oh
catch
yeah.
small fish? Yes. Will it catch medium fish? Yes. So, is it a big bait technique or a big fish technique? No, not
I
necessarily.
think it. I mean, I think it kind of is, but I don't think any
Mm,
more than anything else. It's how you. I think.
yeah.
I don't know, man. I
But it's
can't.
like they're
Yeah, I don't
if
know.
it's a hit and miss technique though, the issue is that in tournaments you're not going to throw a hit and miss technique. You're not,
I don't think
and,
it's a
and
big. I don't think it's a good fishing technique. If I'm being totally honest,
that's what I'm
like
saying.
if
Is
it's
like
that
if
hard
we
to if
agree
it's
with
that
that,
hard to do, if it's that hard to do,
you're
if
in a big money
if
tournament. You're like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna bust out my 9-inch glides and I'm gonna f this stuff up.
I
Let's
just don't
go.
think it's that. I guess maybe I don't think it's that fish catching, and maybe it's because I don't understand it and I haven't fished enough. There's not
Yeah.
a lot of guys that can really do it like that good. That and like there's a bunch of guys that are trying to do it, and I think they're all like not doing very well. They're like, oh my god, I caught a fish, and you're like, you've been doing this for a year.
A fish.
You're like, you caught a fish. Like, all right, bro.
Yeah.
I don't think that this is
all right. I'm with you on it. Okay, so next up,
not the third worst.
I'm next up. My third worst is flukes. Fluke.
Any and all.
All fluke, any method, don't care, suck at flukes, do not use. Suck at flukes in general. You guys, I'm sorry. I should not have a fishing channel. This is ridiculous. I'll see myself out of here.
I don't think that. I think there's a lot of people that think they're good at fishing flukes or think that flukes work, but don't actually know a ton about flukes. And maybe they use them as a trailer at most.
I know they work. I have caught fish on them only as a trailer, never on their own. Not once.
Really?
Yes, not once. And I have fished them on their own. Not that. I guess not that much, but like multiple times on multiple occasions, I have fished them on their own. I fished them weightless. I got specific dead drops from VMC, which I thought were cool. It's like a 332 ounce belly weighted hook, so it causes it to spin.
Who's your fat bass? Oh no! Did it just go away? Flukes suck. No, it just goes. Flukes suck.
That is a bold statement, Cotton. Let's see where that takes him.
It's a pretty bold statement.
Homeboy is trying to just anger half the
Flukes
fishing
suck.
community.
Oh god!
just a blanket.
You know what I gotta say? Flukes suck.
You know what's terrible? You know what's really bad? Chevy and Ford and Toyota all suck. Trucks are terrible.
That was good, man.
Listen, man, I'll say that I suck at them. I will never say that flukes suck. I mean, you do you, and you feel the way you want to feel, because I feel like fishing is such an individualistic sport that there's so much just pretentious freaking nonsense in this industry where people are like, I'm right, you're wrong. This is the way to do it. You're dumb. There's toxicity in the industry. It sucks, you guys. And I feel like we have an awesome community within our channel, and you guys get it. And you're not about that nonsense. But there are plenty of channels out there that are really freaking like into the drama. And I'm not about that stuff. Like, it doesn't make sense. Fish the way you want to fish. If I want to fish a 1/4 ounce net all the time when I should be fishing a 110, let me fish a 1/4 ounce net. If I catch fish, who cares? If I fish an EWG net versus an open hook or a weedless and I catch fish, then that's the way I like to do it. I'm going to do it that way. That's not wrong. If you guys want to do it that way, you do something different that other people think is weird, you do it your way. Like, who cares? If you catch fish, awesome. If it doesn't catch fish, or it's bad for the fish, or it's bad for the environment, maybe knock it off. But at that point, just like do some research and learn about it a little bit. That's kind of what we're getting into. So, again, back to flukes. Like, I have fished them every way since Sunday. I don't get why they don't work for me. I can't wait to learn it. I would love to learn it.
How do you
I want to
think
learn the donkey rig too. Like, that would be, it's always looked cool to me.
It is cool.
How do I think about it?
Yeah, how do you think about flukes when you're fluke fishing? Like, what makes you grab it, and then how are you like trying to use it?
So
I'm just curious, because I've seen you grab them before.
Have you been like, what the heck are you doing? Okay, so I've used them as trailers because it's like a straight tail, puts the chatterbait where I want it to be, right? And I've caught fish that way. It's been great.
Yeah, and it doesn't hang up at all, and it's a big profile. It's nice.
It's great. It's great. So I've caught them that way. Now, when I fish them alone, the way I've been throwing them is on the dead drop and weightless on a fluke hook, right? Kind of semi EWG or just an EWG, right? And I fish them weighted as well. And the way that I fish them when they're weightless or the 332 ounce dead drop is like around pads, weed lines, drop offs. That could be totally wrong. I could be dumb. And then the weighted way I've done it is when I want to get deeper, right? Because weightless, I'm like, this is never going down. This is never going to get down there. Even a zoom, I'm like, this is going to take 10 years. I don't have time for this. And to be fair, like, I'm an extremely impatient individual already. And then Paul and I, when we get to fish, we get like 6 to 8 hours. Yeah. So every time I hit the water, like this timer goes off in my head. Yeah. I used to own a CrossFit gym, so everything's for time, and I basically race to fish Like I'm just like go faster techniques. That's why I subtly aggressive, Ned rig or drop shot. I'll go quarter ounce drop shots all day. I never go at 1/8. I never go lighter. I might even go half ounce if I just want to like get it done. But with the fluke going weightless, I just like cast it out there, watch it plop.
Yeah.
You guys know how weightless fluke, especially like let's go a non-salted one. It's just like I'm just like, dude, go places. And like,
Well, you literally,
yeah. I'm like, dude, I don't have time for this. I feel like I got more used to the action of it this year because I fished them more often. I was like, okay, I started thinking like soft jerk bait. I was
that's
like, okay,
exactly.
move with the rod. It twitches. I figured out jerk baits.
I think that's the second best place to start with a fluke is thinking about it like a jerk bait, running it in shallow water, slow twitches with a belly weighted hook.
That's what I'm doing.
With a belly
That's what I'm
hook.
doing. But I'm failing. It could be timing,
I mean, fishing a jerk bait is hard. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. And I will also say that to me, fluke fishing is very much about rigging. Rigging is such a big deal because they don't run true. I find that they're very easy to not run true. And what you think they should look like isn't what they look like because you have some minute thing wrong with your presentation. Because if they're not perfectly if you don't have the distance with your hook perfectly, all of a sudden like this much of a little bend in your jerk bait in your fluke, and it won't run. You can't run it fast either. I also think running it on spinning gear is critical especially when you're learning. You have to run on spinning gear, and then
that's like my go-to is spinning. It's like I suck at this spinning gear.
I would also say like the number one thing is running it weightless wherever you would run a wacky rig earlier in the season. So if you would weightless wacky in like a very specific place where you think there's going to be a fish.
That's on my bottom 5.
Well, I think like
for that.
Running one under a dock, running it in front of a break wall, hitting a rock pile, like picking a spot and being like, I know they're chasing bait fish. I'm going to weightless one, throw it out there. And I think my favorite way and the way I learned the most though is actually still water in the river.
Yeah.
Slack water in the river and dragging it along the bottom, like essentially as slow as you can. Yeah. I have found to be like the easiest way to catch them. Like
I think I did that with you. We were on the Huron, remember? And I was catching pike on the X wrap, just a tiny X wrap.
Yeah. Yep.
And then we struck out for a while, and I reached for the 6 cents fluke. What was that one called?
The big one, the whale. Not the whale. That's the big one.
That's a swim bait. The flush. So I threw the flush.
It's just a big bait. That's a big fluke. I mean, that's big even by. It's pretty big even by fluke standard.
2. I think it's 5.2 inch.
I think that's the only one they make.
Yeah, they don't make any other sizes. They need to get on,
finesse.
the Guggen trail where Guggen came out with 3 sizes of everything.
Yeah,
I thought that was legit.
Yeah.
So if 6 cents could do that, that'd be fantastic. When they came out with the Stroker, was it the 2.3 Stroker Craw?
The mini, yeah.
The mini is
4. Yeah, it's so great. It's really
good. So great. It's like one of my favorite baits that they offer now. They have no Ned rigs. Lame.
It's a
the Ned Fry is not a Ned rig. Don't tell me that.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I am a fan. I will say though, fluke fishing can be really fun, just like jerkbait fishing.
I believe it.
Jerkbait fishing can also be god awful because you will lose confidence in it exponentially faster than most other kinds of fishing.
I have come so far with jerkbait fishing though. Like, I feel in the past 2 years that has become a top 5 technique for me, and I get excited about the opportunity. I'm like, you know what would work here? Jerkbait, and I'm gonna throw
There's nothing. I even get excited about jerkbait.
You know what Paul used to say to me all the time? He'd be like, you know what would work here? Jerkbait. And I'd be like, shut up. I'm not throwing that stupid thing. Square bill.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't catch fish and he would. So yeah, jerkbaits all day.
All right. So mine is, and this is going to be kind of annoying, but is A-rig actually. I know we already talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
I have never, well, that's not true. I've caught fish on A-rigs, but mostly bluegill fishing. And they're like small A-rigs and I'm trolling them.
Do you mean the live bait umbrella rig?
I've never caught anything on that and I never will. It's the worst bait
on our bottom, our worst baits of all time.
Way low. God, it's low. But I used to run like really small ones for bluegill.
Really?
It works
Okay.
super good with curly tail grubs, man, and they absolutely demolish. But I don't think I've ever caught a bass on one unless it was bycatch, and I couldn't tell you the first thing about them. And I know they work, but I have like no confidence in them because I've never fished them. So, and I know we already talked about it, but that's I've just not fished it almost at all, so that's way down the list.
Wow, interesting. But definitely something I want to figure out too. On account, I bought the Amazon pack, and there's 2 in there, one for you.
I would just like to do it because it's one of those things that I would like to try. I would like to be able to walk up and tell people like, "Oh, A-Rig, I got you." That'd be cool.
Yeah, the one I have comes out to like 1.5 ounces. It's just like it's just cool to throw. You're just like,
yeah, it just sounds fun. Fishing with Grams just said fluke is just the shallow version of a jerkbait out deeper, and I would totally agree with that. I think that though.
Okay.
The one thing
I just gotta change my mindset on it. I
remember I did that video on the donkey rig.
You did a video on a donkey rig?
Well, I guess it was a technique, yeah, on the donkey rig, and I fished it for like 3 days straight. And I'll tell you, what I learned fishing that so much is that there's a lot to be said rigging a fluke perfectly and running it very fast and then stopping it for a very long period of time and then bringing it in really fast, twitch, stop, and then just let it sink to the bottom. Like whenever you're in shallow water, you can visually see fish getting all up in your fluke's business. And it was the donkey rig. It totally changed the fishing the donkey rig totally changed the way that I think about fluke fishing now. Interesting. I would agree. I would have always run it slow, and now I don't worry about it nearly as much. As long as you rig it perfectly, you have to rig it perfectly, or else it looks like garbage when it's moving.
Well, I suck at rigging, so that's a problem.
All right, so you're second to worst.
Shots, Danny the Duck. Danny the Duck doesn't deserve a spot on this list. Danny the Duck will not be seen on this list ever.
Second to worst.
All right, second to worst for me. All right, so this is interesting. I put down the Tokyo rig, and you and I talked about this a little bit before. Once we were like, "Oh, we don't have a guest. Let's figure out a show." So we were talking about it a little bit. I have caught fish on the Tokyo rig, but again, I don't know why. I don't know what I did, and I haven't caught fish since. I went on a hot streak, y'all. I was throwing
I remember this actually.
Yeah. I first time the Tokyo rig came out, I got the VMC Tokyo rig and a 3/0, and I rigged it up with 2 weights, so it was like a clacker. It came in at like a 1/2 ounce total, so I went heavy, and I went spring. It's probably April, May, and I was throwing it in heavy weed cover. I just threw it on in there. I was like, let's go, and it was like a subtle muck bottom, so maybe like 1 inch of muck. So a Tokyo rig, perfection. It's gonna sit up on there, and I was throwing a bandito bug in summer craw, so there's a little hint of chartreuse to it and green pumpkin, and I was getting some nice size bass. This was on a lake near my house, my old house. So I was like, cool, got it dialed, figured out. Haven't caught a single fish since that day. Not since that day. That video is on the channel. You can go back and see it. Fish Tokyo rig. What the heck? Like, I don't get it. So I have not understood it since. Still have a ton, because after that day, like I do, like lunker hunt spider.
Like you do, like you're wont to do.
I'm gonna buy 10 of those because they work now. So I bought a whole bunch of Tokyo rigs. You got the offset worm hook ones for us. I got a bunch of EWG ones. They now make a finesse one. There's a whole bunch of different ones, right? So I have tons of Tokyo rigs, and I have the Bass Pro Shops bonsai rig, which is that with a red bead in between 2 weights as a clacker. It's like and it's super long, right? So that one's a little bit different. So I have a bunch of variations of this thing, and I haven't caught a damn fish on it since. So that is a struggle for me. I know where it's supposed to be fished. I've watched Seth Fighter's videos, not Paul's videos, Seth Fighter's videos. I know it's confusing.
How are they going to know?
How are they going to know? He doesn't know how to fish it either. But Seth Fighter told me where to fish it, and I tried it and didn't work. So I really want to figure that out. And I know you do too, because you never grab them either.
It's not on
It's
my
not on your
bottom.
bottom, but you never grab them. It's not
No,
like
I
you don't
don't,
have
because
confidence in them.
yeah,
It's like a
yes.
because
It's
when I
not.
first
It's
showed you them, we were at my dad's house and we were fishing for
yes.
walleye on the river,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and like I was throwing it out there, like bombing it out in 8-knot current on a 1 ounce weight, and it was just like boom, 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 and you're like, oh, it's a really short bottom bouncer. Yeah, it's like a short drop shot, short bottom bouncer, something like that. And yeah, I just have not figured out what to do with them since. I want to
Yeah.
because they're cool, they're fun to fish, but
I
yeah.
feel confident enough that it's not in my bottom 5, but it's not anywhere near the top either. Yeah, I would agree.
Right. Yeah. It's a tough one. I
This,
think
this,
I know it'll work. I know I can figure it out.
oh no,
And
it's legit, but the way I think about it now, I think about it as a modified version of a Texas rig.
Yep.
And I think about the times when I'm like, man, a Texas rig would be like really good here, but it's not going to work well because of a couple of different reasons, right? There's some cover, maybe there's enough rocks where I'm just going to get hung up. Maybe I need something when it's dark water and I need it to be up a little bit. There's a lot of different reasons. Like I think rock piles, like I want that more than a jig, and I want it more than potentially a Texas rig. And I actually don't run flipping baits on it anymore, and I don't run it for flipping, even though I know that's kind of the deal. I don't, and really punching is what I mean by flipping. Sorry, I keep doing that, but for me, it's like one of my favorite. Like I think it's that rare situation where I don't want a Texas rig, where I don't want to be going up and down and up and down and up and down, where I want to stay low. I actually want it on a worm, and that's why I got the offset worm hook ones, because that's how I wanted them. And now that's how I like it. But I still would not sit here and tell you that like I'm great at it. It's not one of my. I wouldn't be like I know everything about it. Like there's not even close. So I would agree. It's a good one.
100%. All right, what's yours?
My second to worst, spoons.
Ooh, this is a good one. So this is crazy, y'all, because so far we have 8 totally different options. So we might get 10. I'm almost gonna guarantee we get 10 unless you say the same last one.
I'm not looking at here, so
otherwise it'll be 9. But anyways, yeah, I'm with it. Spoons, I got a bunch. I'd love to fish them. Don't know how.
I'm okay with spoons. I'm okay, but I'm again. It's like saying I'm okay with a square bill.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm good at a square bill, but I'm not a pro. I don't consider it to be like one of my best. Right? I know a lot about them, but I could not. I know about a portion, like what I know is a very small portion of spoon fishing, which is quarter ounce spoons, and I can fish them like 4 or 5 ways, and that's it. The whole realm of spoon fishing is gigantic. Like,
oh yeah,
big spoons.
Really, Chaz? You love spoon fishing? Okay. Yeah.
There's so many. There's so much to learn about spoons, and I've also had days where I can't catch on them where I feel like I should, and it's just a very. I know I don't know what I don't know, but I know it's a very big realm, and I would like to have the spoon make its way into my repertoire a lot more, because I also have a bunch of spoons, and they just never get any love.
And I also really love catching pike, so I feel like if we could figure out spoons, that could really help us with that.
But like,
which would be awesome.
Spoons are just. I've had days on St. Clair. They're stuck in my head where a daredevil was the only thing that would work, and you couldn't keep fish off of it. I've had 2 days like that. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I want to have that be, you know what I mean? Like, I want that again. And I want to be able to call my shot on it. I'm not there. So, spoons, second worst.
Yeah. The only time I've caught anything on spoons is ice fishing. And I would chalk that up to live bait being on the spoon and like slightly the action of it, and vertically jigging. So, yeah, I would love to figure out spoons. I would love to do that. Also, the Burly Hype Man _AKA _Trashmaster AOI 2021 would like you to grow out a mullet. So if you could just please do that. The rest of us have been waiting
patiently
forever. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's put in here.
Greg liked spooning. That's cool. All right. So moving on to my number 5.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll find out. We're going to find out right now, you guys. What'd you say?
This is your worst technique of all time.
This is my worst technique of all time, and this is why I said you guys are gonna hate me. Guess what it is? This is why Alex Rudd and I should get along really well. I suck at crankbaits, you guys. I suck at them, especially deep crankbaits. Specifically, I would say deep crankbaits.
Deep.
But then I would say everything but square bills. Shallow crankbaiting, I can do. Shallow crankbaiting, fantastic at. I feel really good about it. It's close to my top 5.
Yeah.
Anything deeper than 5 feet, I'm like, what do I do now? I think I honestly think it's partially because of the electronics, aka Lauren, aka doesn't know how to find fish. She's back there. She knows I'm talking to her.
I was gonna say,
yeah, I just don't. I don't know what I'm doing out there. Like, I don't know where I'm fishing. I know how to fish a crankbait. I don't know where to fish a crankbait. And relative to retrieve speeds and variations, I don't fully understand that either. So I would say crankbaits, specifically deeper than 5 feet, I do not feel comfortable with whatsoever. Have I caught fish on them? Yes, I have. Do I feel confident in them at all? 0%. Will not ever grab them. Have a complete tackle box full of them. Will not grab. Yeah, I've thrown the C20 from, or is it the C20 from 6 Cents? What is it? It came in a box a million years ago. I think I gave it away. But yeah, I had a sexy shad 20 or 25 foot diver from 6 Cents, and I threw it a bunch of times. No idea what it was doing. Not a darn clue in the world.
That's probably one that's in the higher for me. I don't get to do it enough, but I will. No, we don't. But I love it so much. It is like the great. It's probably I think it might be one of, outside of frogs and like just topwater in general, one of the more gratifying ways to catch fish. Deep, specifically, because like all of a sudden you're like, you catch 3 fish in water that you have no idea what you're looking at, and they just, you get that big rod bend. It is so gratifying, really is.
No, 100%. And like the outlier for me in this is the Burly Digger 8.5 that I have in Sunfish. I've caught a ton of fish. It's one of my fish catchingest baits that I own, and it's one of the first baits I got, and I felt good about it. But I don't feel good about any other crankbait at a +5 diving depth.
Remember that day on one of my home lakes where probably caught 3 dozen fish on 2 different baits, and I was trolling. It was super windy.
Oh,
remember? You were maybe. Like maybe 25.
Was I catching fish or not catching fish?
Not at all.
Cool. Then I don't remember that day at all. It is blocked from my memory.
So Jeff and I went out to. It was the first year. It was last season. So almost 2 years ago at this point. And we went to one of my home lakes, Kavanaugh, that we go ice fishing at a lot. And
I caught fish on that lake. Shut up, you jerk! No, you caught way more fish than I did.
That day where that perch just right angled my kayak. You remember that day?
Yep.
I ran crankbaits that entire day, and they were all deep divers. And I felt like I could not miss on that day on that crankbait. Point where it was literally, it was taking me longer than I wanted to get off the water, because I kept trolling them, and we were zigzag trolling them, and I couldn't get them off. There's nothing more gratifying than that. I don't think anywhere. It's so fantastic.
Yeah,
but
I was throwing neds.
A huge, massive part of that. Massive.
I did throw cranks that day. There is a TikTok of me casting off my 6-foot diver, Burly Digger, and then you retrieving it. And I did catch a few on cranks that day, but yeah, you put the numbers up for sure. And then I caught a bunch on neds.
Yep.
It's pretty much my majority.
All right, my worst, and I don't even think this is anywhere close. I think it's like all other baits and then this. Spy baiting.
Oh, yeah. That's good. I don't even think about that technique, honestly, at all. It does not even cross my mind.
Exactly. It is so far outside of my...
You've caught one. You caught one, at least.
I like my third
on the
cast.
record.
I like my third cast. I couldn't tell you how to fish one. I couldn't tell you what rod to use. I could tell you maybe the line. I really know absolutely nothing about spy baiting. and I can't even.
We know a guy.
And I do know a guy.
He could be the guy for that episode.
I actually know two.
One of them will be the guy.
But I sincerely, like, it's not even close.
Yeah.
Like, when I was making the list, it was immediate. I was like, that's the worst. I'm the worst at this. I know nothing.
Yeah. That is actually amazing because now we have 10 bait techniques that we all suck at, and we didn't even look at each other's notes, y'all. This is ridiculous. So there we go. There's a 10 episode minimum series that's going to be coming out next year where we learn to fish all of these rigs. So if you're interested in any of these episodes, you should definitely tune in. You should subscribe. You should share this with people who also want to learn how to spy bait like James Bond. Yes, Chaz, we will be James Bond. Yeah, if you could just DDT that notification bell, if you could just mankind Mr. Sacco that like button, that would be fantastic.
The follow button.
If you could just cage match ladder drop that.
I love it.
All right, you know what we should do? We should probably give some stuff away.
Can we announce the Monster Bass giveaway here?
Well, hang on. So, Chaz, how many viewers do we got right now? Oh my gosh, why am I waiting for this? 57. Here's the deal, you guys. This episode or any future episode, if you help us get over 100 viewers, I actually have basically 1 million of these. So if you would like a whole bunch of heckin' baits, there's a bunch. That one has a bunch, and there's actually 2 bins over there. Once we break 100 viewers on an episode, I'm gonna have Chaz start looking for it. We're gonna do a giveaway. Every episode over 100 viewers, we're doing a giveaway on top of the $25 Monster Bass. So it's gonna be 2 winners. Actually, no. Should we do a grand prize, Paul? What do you think?
Tonight?
No, not tonight. There's not 100 viewers. They got. We're telling them, share this with your friends. But for tonight, we're doing the $25. But I'm saying if we do have over 100 viewers, we do the Monster Bass plus a bunch of tackle. I have too much. I'm not doing Instagram giveaways. Instagram giveaways are garbage.
Really?
So I'm going to give them away on here to you awesome, fantastic nerds that I love. Do we do all in one prize or 2 prizes? What do you think?
I'll do a giveaway and you do one. I've got 2 bins that are completely stacked.
But does somebody win Monster Bass giveaway, my giveaway, and your giveaway all at once?
I have 3 winners.
3 winners.
100 people, 3 winners.
All right. All right.
You guys know when we're talking that's triple the freight. Don't care.
Yep. Yeah, we're good with it. So here's the deal, you guys. Help us get over 100 viewers on our next couple of episodes, and forever, like basically forever. If we're over 100 viewers, we're doing multiple giveaways. How about that? That's the deal. I'm putting it out there right now into the universe. You guys roll with us. Let's do this thing. I would love to do that for you. So I have tons. I have tubs of tackle. I want you to have. There will be multiple winners every single time. So guess what you got to do? You got to start inviting your friends in here and make sure that they stay until prior to 9:30. We'll always draw before 9:30. That is a guarantee, a promise. I don't care who the guest is. We'll be like, time to draw, and then we'll keep talking afterwards if we have to. So here's the deal. Right now, we're going to do the Monster Bass giveaway, aka the Slow Rolling Thunder round. And here's what you got to do. You guys are so smart. You're doing it already. Just chat. Just type anything in chat. And we're going to go through our Slow Rolling Thunder. By the time we get to the second to last question, Chaz is going to draw a winner. And then that winner is going to have to type in their email address into chat. And if that doesn't work, we're going to yell at you a whole bunch. But then you can message us or we'll figure out another solution. We found out there's an issue with like if your email is associated with Google or whatever. So just try and type in your email and let us know if it's not working, because we're going to keep saying, where's your email at? Okay. So now you guys know the rules. Let's play the game. Slow Rolling Thunder. Let's go, Paul.
All right.
If you ask me hoodies or not, I'm kidding.
Favorite ride at Cedar Point?
None of them. Not a single one. I hate Cedar Point with a passion.
With a passion?
With a passion.
Why?
Would never go to Cedar Point again.
But you've been.
Yeah, I've been. I've been like 6-7 times. Do not like Cedar Point.
Am I alone? Cedar Point that you don't like, or roller coasters that you don't like?
Oh, I hate roller coasters, you guys.
So
do not like roller coasters.
So,
But
but if you
because
had
Cedar Point is mostly roller coasters, therefore
yes,
ipso facto
but
hate
if
Cedar
you had
Point.
to pick a roller coaster or some sort of amusement park ride, what would you pick?
I would pick Universal Studios. No. All right. So there's two options, right? Number one would be there's a flying Harry Potter ride. It's like one of those VR ones that was pretty fantastic. And then it was like riding a dragon or something. I can't remember. There was like the escape from Gringotts. That was pretty sweet. And then I would say the other one would be Legoland, because I take my daughters there every time we go to Florida. They love Legos. They love Legoland. The Lego Movie Flying Couch ride is pretty sweet. That's what I'd say. I hate all roller coasters, all of them. Yep, yep. They're both licensed in terrible, slow bumper cars. Fantastic license to have.
Wow,
Anybody else hate roller coasters? Am I like a loser here? I'm so sorry to ruin you guys' lives. I love, so here's the deal. I'll put it this way. I love Universal Studios because the rides are engaging and they put you like into the movies. I like that. I do not like, Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point. I think that's the Cedar Point. I don't care. Hate, not interested, 0% interest, maybe -% interest in that ride. Paul's so mad right now. Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, maybe I might actually like that one. That's different. I think that's different. I just don't like being strapped into a thing that goes like this a whole bunch of times. I'm not about that life.
a lot.
Yeah, that I can fly off onto the hillside and tumble down into the trees. That's
Yeah,
way better.
What?
All right, Paul, favorite ride at Cedar Point?
Okay. I will say it's very close. Top Thrill Dragster, I just wrote for the first time. I never got a chance to ride it before, or like before. It is
You have ridden it though?
just like this summer. It is incredible. It is a fantastic ride. I would ride that one a dozen times straight if I could. It was unbelievably cool. That being said, I still think Millennium Force edges it out just a hair. It is outstanding, and I will say the best roller coaster though that I would want to make my number one, because you can all like the line is always non-existent and it's always a great ride. Gemini.
So I've been on the Gemini, but I hated it, and I've never been on the Millennium Force or the Top Thrill Dragster, and I never ever will.
It's so good. It's so good. Maverick was like very average. It just wasn't worth the 6-hour wait.
Yeah.
What are some of the other ones? Iron Dragon's a classic. I used to love it when I was a kid. It was like the best one ever when I was a kid. Corkscrew sucks balls.
I want to say that the Maverick is the roller coaster that ruined roller coasters for me. I'm pretty sure that's the one. I'm pretty sure. Is that, were you hanging from it?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a Raptor or something.
Raptor. Okay, so Raptor is like a very close, like it's in a tier of its own. It's such a great ride because the ride's always pretty short. It's always very good. The headbanging is a little bit of an issue, but it's not really an issue for me. But like, it's very good ride. Very good ride. It just needs
pretty sure
in that ride.
That ruined roller coasters for me for my whole life.
All right. So
yeah, so you just
so my favorite are the free fall ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then ones that just flip you constantly over and over again.
Hate it. Cool. Or those ones where you see the TikToks where like it's the slingshot. I think it's called the slingshot, right? Where they just shoot you off to the moon. No. What is wrong with you people? Don't ride those rides.
Zip lines are the crappiest ride ever invented. I don't know why people do those. I don't know why people go on those. I would never, unless I had to, I would avoid spending money. It's just like, I'd rather set it on fire.
Unless your zip line is going over the Muskegon River and you are traveling across said river to consume a pig eyeball, I believe it is not worth your time.
Agree.
What said by Paul 2021.
I think zip lines don't make sense to my brain.
It's fine.
All right. This one is so the not these specific brands, but these types of beers.
I hate carousels, G-Fon Kim.
Would you rather have a milkshake stout or a Busch Light?
Busch Light.
Really?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Busch Light. Not a milkshake stout fan. Not.
Oh.
I am a stout fan, but they need to be extremely strong. And like a milkshake stout to me is just filling and pointless.
I like 15%. Like.
Thank you. Yes.
Beer.
Dragon's Milk from New Holland. Yeah. All day. That there's.
We should do a video where we drink the 12 Days of Christmas beers. Have you had those?
Ooh, no, good. But I would like that.
They're
would be all in one video, Chaz.
Oh, woof. All right,
Chaz,
so
I need your help.
Roll the winner now because I only have 2 other questions. So
okay.
Roll the winner now. I think everyone has chatted.
Winner coming up.
Hoosier Fat Bassin.
Hoosier Fat Bassin. What's up, dude? Where are you at?
Bassin, you are the winner for tonight.
Step 1, say hi. Step 2, type email. Hoosier Fat Bassin.
All right, while we're waiting for him, and we're eagle eye watching. We're waiting for Hoosier Fat Bassin. I'm going to say, what is worse when you're out fishing? Rain, wind, or cold?
Cold. Without a doubt.
Really?
Yeah. Because with the 360 and rain gear, I don't care about either of those things. But if it's cold and raining and windy, then it's a nightmare. If it's cold and rainy, it's a nightmare. If it's cold and windy, it's a nightmare. But if it's just windy or just rainy, I don't care at all.
As a kayak angler, if I hear,
you got a 360, bro.
Not happy. I don't like it. I would rather have it be cold.
I don't mind it. I don't mind the wind. I actually feel when I have the wind, I'm like, spinnerbait, chatterbaits. Let's go.
Not like a breeze. I'm talking like the whole like idea where you'd it's enough wind where you'd wish you had your DC.
I would have my DC.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but like that type of wind. Like it's the wind where you're like, if I don't have a DC, I'm probably not gonna have fun. You'd still pick cold?
Yep.
Wow. So surprising.
100%. I want to be warm.
How does this happen every time?
Hoosier Fat Bassin.
Oh, he did. Okay. Well, now we need the email, my guy. I missed him. There he is. Fluke still sucks.
Bam, bam, bam.
That was awesome. I love that so much. All right, Hoosier Fat Bassin. We're waiting for your email. We got one more question to go. Okay, type in your email, press send. We're going to see it. No one else will.
Here are the instructions. You will type this at this.com, right, and then you will press send.
Talk to Hoosier Fat Bassin because he is happy.
Okay, he said he did a couple times, so find a solution for him, my friend. Thank you so much. All right, last question.
Or best cookie that money can buy. That is not illegal in 12 states.
Damn, ruined it. All right. Well, I will say, all right, so let's go. Oh my God, it's so hard.
It is.
I love sweets. I love cookies.
Cookies. For people who are asking, what is the best cookie that money can buy? That was the question.
The best. Oh man. Yeah, Snickerdoodle is a top 3. No, stop. Snickerdoodle is a top 3. It's not number 1. Number 1 would probably be
Chips Ahoy is not even close.
That's not even a cookie. What do you mean, like in sleeves?
Get out of here.
No, we're talking about real cookies, y'all. So, all right, here's what I'm gonna put out there: Ghirardelli chocolate, Ghirardelli double chocolate, which is chocolate cookie dough, right, with big chocolate chunks.
Those are so good.
I'm gonna die on that. That's it. There it is. What's yours?
So Girl Scout Thin Mints actually was pretty close, but I actually
see.
Whoa,
hang on. So I think that's a separate category, though. We're talking like baking products, or are we talking like?
It's a cookie. You'd say this is a cookie. They're called Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, I'd say it's allegedly a cookie, but I'm with you on Samoas.
Samoas are better. They are. They're just better.
Samoas are the best.
What's the peanut butter one? Oh God, the peanut butter Girl Scout cookie where it's like a cookie and then there's like caramel with peanut butter and then it's coated in chocolate. Those are
them.
Those are right up there with Samoas. They're so good. But Samoas are better.
It's not tag-alongs, is it?
Tags are so good. God, I love tags.
Is it that?
I actually think
s'mores. Have you had the s'mores ones?
I used to work for Kellogg's. I used to buy the chocolate for all of the Girl Scout cookies. My guy.
Yeah.
I had them all.
Said tag-alongs. Yes. So tag-alongs, Samoas, the s'mores ones, and if you say those lemon ones, get out of my chat.
You have to have them fresh off the line. If you have them fresh off the line with a beverage, they're very good. But I agree. After a month, they're crap. What's the...
Sorry, Caramel Delights. They don't call them Samoas anymore. Sorry.
Whatever, dude. You know
Caramel Delights.
What is the old man cookie? The Girl Scout old man cookie? It's like hold on.
The shortbreads.
No.
No?
No. It's got toffee in it.
Coffee in it.
Toffee.
Oh, toffee.
They're called like Toffee Delight or toffee.
No idea what you're talking about.
That is without a doubt the best cookie to have with a cup of coffee, and it's really not close. I know that all cookies are good with coffee. Coffee-tastics are hands down, they're better than everything else with coffee. But I will say the best cookie that I've ever had, and I will say the cookie that beats all cookies, and someone actually set it up here, is No Bakes. No Bakes crush. They just crush everything else.
You're talking about straight up raw cookie dough.
No. Have you ever had a no bake cookie?
I think so. They end up looking like just a pile of baking material.
Yeah. And you just let them sit.
I've had them.
Those are so good. They're unbelievably good.
I will argue with you here and say that the best was in like elementary, middle school when you had to do like the Little Caesars fundraiser and you ended up selling cookie dough buckets, but you would sell the buckets to your mom to like hit the numbers, and then you would just be like with a spoon just going like, oh, chocolate chip cookie dough, this is fantastic. That was my life.
All right, Charles, did we ever figure out how to take care of our boy Hoosier? All right.
Oh, Hoosier, you got to get your prize. You better send your fucking deets. Let's go.
All right.
Anyways, super chat from Jivon Kim. Look at this. Great live. Paul and Debo, you're welcome. I am Debo's Fishing, and you should subscribe to my channel, which is my second channel is Burly Fishing. This is an alternate channel. And I'm going to be growing this a lot. In fact, if you could unsubscribe from my previous channel, which is Debo's Fishing, and subscribe, we're moving over to this channel. We'd love to have you. That'd be super great. By the way, you guys, I don't know if you saw Paul featured on Debo's Fishing. I literally that was like the day after Thanksgiving, right?
I think so.
Right. It was that Friday. So I was like just hanging out with family, like drinking and like not planning on doing anything live. And then I just get a text from you. You're like, hey, I'm on Debo's. And I was like, what? And then I got on the live and I was like, what are you doing, bro? And you just replaced Randizzle. And I was like, so jealous. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we have Randizzle on our show and boot Paul? Just like kick him off for a show? I'm down.
We absolutely should.
Andy Ramey was there. He said it was a good show. All right. Did we figure out Hoosier? Chaz?
We'll get him taken care
of. All right. We got you, Hoosier Fat Bass. And so hit us up. Be sure I have a gift card ready to go for once. You know, thank you, Rafi, for once being on time.
He was on the show. So he's still
Well, hopefully he's still here and he hears me saying this. You're always late with my gift. Anyways, so we'll get you the gift card right away, my friend. And you guys are awesome. What is this? Some of these comments I can't see, but anyways, we love you guys. We're happy to be back live. I hate every time we take a week off, even though I do enjoy it because we get to spend time with our families. But you guys are basically our family. We love you so much. And like I said, I'm going to hold to this. Help us get over 100 people on the live, and we're going to start doing way bigger giveaways. That's a promise. That's a guarantee. You've seen us do it before. We're going to do it again. We do have a members only live coming up on the Paul 14th. Yep. The 14th at 8 p.m. Eastern, same time, different day. It's a Tuesday and it's a 14th. So if you are a Snorlax Crew member or wannabe, definitely do that. And I believe the Shark-Deucers are invited as well because you guys are super cool. So Shark-Deucers, Snorlax Crew, we'll bring you on. Oh, we got Hoosier taken care of. Look at that. I delayed just long enough. All right, you guys, that's all we got for you tonight. As we said on the episode and throughout the episode, we're going to be learning some new techniques next year. So tune in if you want to see that and learn with us, which is what I think the most fun in that whole process is going to be. And you guys can join us again next Thursday live, 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. As always, put it on your calendar. Leave it repeating forever except for Christmas. You guys are awesome. Love you. Okay, like, subscribe, do other things. Chaz, take us out of here. Help me. We gotta go.
Took a swing at a wrecking ball and I prayed for my downfall and I found a way to reconcile, 'cause in my heart it's not worthwhile. It's a bloody battlefield where sun go down, others heal. In the end it's all the same. All you can do is play the game. Oh, do we say goodbye? Refuse to question why. I'm sad to say I'm sorry, so lie. Pretend that you're okay. Swear that you will stay. Keep trying for one day. I'm sick of all these lies. Don't care if I capsize. There's nothing left for me to hide. Don't wanna live a lie. Too many lows, too many highs. Too many things to criticize. And so I leave it all behind. Don't wanna live a lie. Life kept spitting at my feet and forced me down a dead-end street when all I had went up in flames, burning only dark remains. I cover up every part of my skin, oh, 'cause I don't like the person within, oh. I know I'm the one to blame. All I can do is take the shame, oh. Do we say goodbye? Refuse to question why. I'm too sad to say I'm sorry, so lie and pretend that you're okay. Swear that you will stay. Keep trying for one day. Whoa, I'm sick of all these lies. Don't care if I capsize. There's nothing left for me to hide. Don't wanna live a lie. Too many lows, too many highs. Too many things to criticize. So I leave it all behind. Don't wanna live a lie. I don't wanna live a lie. Live a lie. Ooh. I'm sick of all these lies. Don't care if I capsize. Oh no.